Back in the early days of video games, players would almost always assume control of the good guy. Especially since a lot of games were targeted to kids, it was pretty much a no-brainer to go that route. Don't want the kids emulating the villains, right? Nowadays in games, you're carjacking, beating up hookers, and killing policemen. Seems the only thing you can't do is rape people. Although this has happened in video games before, particularly back in the Atari era that I'm going to be talking about here, but that's another story altogether. More often than not, in the early 80s, you'll play as the hero, but Bank Heist is one of the few games at the time where you play as the bad guy. The object is to drive your getaway car through the most insanely designed town of all time, and rob as many banks as you possibly can. Banks are these little gray icons, and each time you rob one, a police car shows up. There can be 3 on the screen at once. Press the fire button to drop a stick of dynamite behind your car to blow them up, and each time you do, another bank will open up and you can rob that one. If a cop makes contact with you, or if you run into your own dynamite explosion, you'll lose a getaway car or a life. You'll start out with 5. The tricky part is keeping your fuel level up. It'll gradually decrease as you drive around, and you'll use up some every time you use a stick of dynamite. You'll fill up your tank every time you leave town, or advance to the next screen. The exit out of the stage is always in the upper right hand corner. The other 3 are all secret passages to the other side, including the one right next to the exit. But you can't just mosey on over to the exit and refill your tank completely. You have to build up your max refill by robbing banks. Each one will move the max refill indicator up a notch. It's the line to the right of the fuel tank. You have to rob 9 banks to maximize this meter. So if you want to make the game last, you have to blow up cops to get the extra banks to show up so you can fill the tank up all the way. The cool thing about this game is that you really have to keep your head on a swivel. You've got cops to avoid and blow up, banks to rob, and a fuel tank to keep an eye on. The graphics are modest, but what maze game is going to blow you away with their visuals anyway? Bank Heist is fun and underrated. Give it a shot.